This is a European green crab, and this is a purple shore crab. Most people are really bad at identifying crabs, and you can see why, but it doesn't have to be such a challenge. A year ago, I wouldn't have known a green crab from a rock crab, but now I can easily identify all of the common species where I live. By following a simple process like I did, you can learn to identify just about any crab species, no matter how confusing their names are. In this video, I'll show you how to follow that process without having to pay for college classes like I did. The first part of the process is learning some basic facts about crabs and their habitat. You don't have to remember it all, but it's good to know. This is just to get you started, and you can come back to it if you have questions later. Crabs are decapods, so they're invertebrates with an exoskeleton and 10 legs. Crabs usually have a set of claws on their front pair of legs, and their back legs are sometimes shaped like paddles for swimming. Some crabs have slightly flattened back legs that they use for both swimming and walking, and others have more than one pair of legs converted for swimming. Some crabs only have 8 visible legs because their last pair is hidden under their carapace by their gills. At the front of the carapace, you'll find their eyes and antennae. Unlike lobsters and shrimp, which are also decapods, crabs have their tail segments tucked under their body. Other than their legs, this pretty much just leaves their wide, flat carapace exposed, which is usually very durable. That shape, along with their leg placement, gives them the ability to run sideways. Crabs can display a wide range of colors, shapes, sizes, and behaviors, but these general characteristics are more or less common to all of them. Some features that are often used to identify crabs are spines or points, serrations, carapace shape, and hairs. The shape, body structure, color, and behavior of a crab is usually the most reliable way to identify it, but knowing about its habitat can make the process a whole lot faster by quickly eliminating species that don't match the location and environmental conditions. There are thousands of species of crabs all over the world. They live on land, in the ocean, in rivers, and in lakes. Where you're most likely to find them depends on where you are in the world. Where I live, in the Pacific Northwest, you can easily find them in or near the ocean, often in estuaries and bays for the species I'm most familiar with. Now that you know the basics about crabs and their habitats, you can tell them apart enough to identify them by using key features. Key features are details about a crab that distinguish it from similar species. When you're trying to identify a crab, general features like location, habitat type, size, and carapace shape can be used to narrow it down to a few potential species. And then, all you need to do to find the right one is check the key features and see what matches. And that's it for the background. Now you're ready to get started. The first step is to learn about the crab you want to identify. Learn its physical features, habitat, common behaviors, as well as its key features. Everything you need for this can be found online or in field guides. The next step is to find a crab. It can just be a picture to practice with, or you can look at a real crab. A good way to practice at home is to use the pictures in a field guide with the name covered up. Once you find a crab to identify, see if it shares any general features with the crab you learned about. If it doesn't, you can be pretty sure they're different, but if it does, you can move on to comparing key features. If they match, they're the same species, and if they don't, they're not. Make sure to check your work. You can repeat this process starting again at step 1 to learn as many crabs as you want to. The more species you know, the easier they all become to identify. Now that we have the process outlined, let's work through some examples to tie it all together, and then I'll tell you how to avoid a few common mistakes. Following the step-by-step process, the first thing to do is to learn about the crab or crabs you want to identify. For this example, we'll learn to identify the European green crab, Parsinus manus, and the purple shore crab, Hemigrapsis nudus, which can be a little harder. We'll go over their general features and key features and then see if we can identify them from a lineup of crabs. For the sake of simplicity, all the crabs can be found in roughly the same place, so we don't have to consider habitat. Let's start with the European green crab. Their general features include a fan-shaped carapace and slightly flattened back legs. Their key features are 5 spines on each side of the carapace and 3 small bumps between the eyes. Starting with the general features, we can eliminate everything that isn't the right carapace shape. Now, for the ones where we can see the back legs, we can eliminate the ones that aren't slightly flattened. Finally, we can eliminate anything that doesn't have 5 spines on each side of its carapace and 3 bumps between its eyes, which leaves us with these 2. Moving on to the purple shore crab, its general features are a square-shaped carapace and 3 spines on each side of its carapace. Its key features are soft tissue at the base of its claws and no hairs on its legs. Again, starting with the general features, we can eliminate everything with the wrong carapace shape. Now, anything that doesn't have 3 spines on each side of its carapace can be removed. We can finally get rid of any that don't have soft tissue on the base of their claws, if we can see them, and do the same for any that have hairs on their legs, which leaves us with these 2 purple shore crabs. And just like that, we found the crabs we were looking for by taking the process one step at a time. But when following this process, there are a few common mistakes you should learn to avoid. You'll notice that both the European green crab and the purple shore crab have colors in their names, but I didn't include colors in either of their lists of features. This is because common names of crabs should not be trusted for identification. For example, some people would call this a Japanese rock crab, even though it's native to the west coast of North America, and it doesn't even live in Japan. Common names are often assigned based on inconsistent colors or even factors that are totally unrelated to the crabs themselves. Scientific names are sometimes better about this. On the topic of color, you probably saw that the example crabs didn't all match their names. It's important to keep in mind that a lot of crab species have a ton of variation in color, and common names rarely reflect that. Both these species can be the color in their name, but you can't count on that. I've said in this video that using the internet can help you practice your skills, and that is true, but you have to be careful to find reputable sources. You can't just look up a crab's name and go to Google Images, because you might find mislabeled crabs, or something I never expected, AI-generated crab images. Never expected AI slop to get to crab identification, but here we are. If you avoid these mistakes and follow the process, there's only one more thing to do before you can get good at identifying crabs. The most important step in any learning process is real-world practice. To improve your crab identification skills, the best thing you can do is go out and practice with someone who already knows. But practicing alone with a field guide is also helpful if you don't have anyone who can teach you. For the Pacific Northwest, I highly recommend the new Beachcomber's Guide to the Pacific Northwest. It's one of the books I learned from for my college classes, and I found it really informative and interesting to look through. It's not exclusive to crabs though. Please like and share this video to help other people learn about crab identification, and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me in the future. You can also check out the recommended video on screen. Leave a comment if you'd like to see a video that walks through the key features of my local crabs, or if you have any other video ideas.